PLL is the last step of the CFOP method and stands for permutation of the last layer. The goal of PLL is to finish the cube by moving the pieces around after OLL. To do this, you recognize patterns on the side of the last layer and do an algorithm that solves that case. PLL algorithms are generally longer than OLL algorithms, so even though there are only 21 cases in total, it will take a lot of time to learn all of them. So instead I'm gonna teach you 6 algorithms so you can always do PLL in just 2 or sometimes even 1 step. The first goal is to solve the corners of the cube. To do this, you look for headlights in the top layer, meaning 2 corners with the same color, like these 2. But be careful, for example, these are headlights as well, even though it doesn't look like that, but these 2 corners are solved. Now, if you have headlights on each side of the cube, you can just go straight to the next algorithms I'm gonna show you. But otherwise, there are 2 cases for which we're gonna learn an algorithm that will solve all of the corners. Now, the first case is when you have no headlights on all of the sides. In other words, this is not important to know, but you need to swap diagonal corners. To solve this case, we're gonna do this algorithm, which is also called a Y-Perm. Now, don't let the algorithm intimidate you. I'm gonna show you some tricks to easily memorize the entire thing. And good news is, once you know this one, you pretty much know the next algorithm as well. For the first part of the algorithm, we're gonna start with an F, and we're gonna keep track of this pair right here. So F, inserting this pair right here, doing a U-Prime, taking the pair back out, realigning the cross, and doing an F-Prime. This is the first step of the algorithm. And the next part is really easy because we start with a sexy move, or taking this pair out and putting it back here, and then resolving this pair in a different way, which goes like this. Bringing it in its correct spot, doing F, R, F-Prime, which solves the pair again, but also the corners in the top layer. Now, the next case is when you have headlights, and this time you hold the headlights on the left side of the cube. The algorithm we're gonna do is called a T-Perm and swaps these 2 corners right here. For the T-Perm, we're gonna swap the 2 parts of the Y-Perm around, and because we're doing this, F-Prime F cancels each other out, so we can get rid of those 2, and R, R becomes R2. So the final algorithm looks like this. So this time we're starting with a sexy move, R prime F, and right now we go straight to the next part of the algorithm, which is doing an R2 this time, inserting the pair, realigning it, U prime, taking the pair back out, and realigning the cross like that. This solves the corners of the cube. So once we have the corners solved of the cube, all we need to do is solve the edges and the cube is solved. Now, there are 4 cases you can get in total, but I'm gonna start with the cases that have a full bar, like right here. These cases are called U-Perms. One tip, you don't need to align the top layer to the rest of the cube. Some people like to do that to easily visualize the case, but you don't need to do that, so you can do it from here as well. The first case we're gonna take a look at is the Ua-Perm. While facing the bar, you'll notice that the edge on the left is opposite from its corners. In other words, this edge needs to go right there. Or you can also recognize it on the right because this edge is not opposite from its corners. The algorithm is really easy to memorize because the last 8 moves are super similar. So let's start with thumb on bottom. We're gonna do R2, U prime, R prime. And now it's just a bunch of U moves followed by an R move. So we're gonna do U prime, R, regrip here so we can do all of the remaining R moves in just one fluid motion. So U, R, U, R, U prime, R. And that solves the edges. For the Ub-Perm, the edge on the right is opposite of its corners, or the edge on the left is not opposite from its corners. The algorithm is just a mirror case of the Ua-Perm, so it's really easy to memorize if you already know the Ua-Perm. We're gonna start with thumb at the top this time, and this time we're gonna do 4 R prime moves followed by a U move. So R prime, U, R prime, U prime, regrip thumb on the top, R prime, U prime, R prime, U, and now just finish the cube like this. R, U, R2. That solves the edges. Now, next up, we're gonna have 2 algorithms using the middle layer. So for these algorithms, I advise you to use your right hand for the middle layer flicks, and you can use your middle finger for a single flick. And if you wanna get really fast, you can use ring followed by your middle finger for double flicks. Just like that. The easiest case to recognize is the H-Perm. So basically we have a checkerboard pattern all around the cube and each edge is opposite of the corners. In other words, these 2 edges need to swap and these 2 edges need to swap. This algorithm just has a bunch of M2s in it, so it's really easy to remember. We're starting with using right hand, M2 U prime, M2 U2, M2 U prime, M2. So fittingly enough, the last algorithm we're gonna learn in the CFOP beginners course is the Z-Perm, last letter of the alphabet. So once again, we have like a checkerboard pattern, but this time the edges aren't opposite to the corners. Now to do this algorithm, make sure that the edges I need to switch, which are these two and these two, are in the front and the right. So these are the same color. So don't do it like this, but like this. The algorithm is a bit longer than the H-Perm, but it's once again really easy to memorize. We're starting off with M prime, U prime, then 2 times M2 U prime, M2 U prime, M2 U prime, M prime, and then finally U2, M2, just like that. So right now, whenever you're done with OLL, first solve the corners, like shown before, and then use one of the algorithms to solve the edges. If you want to see all of the 4 steps of the CFOP method applied, check out this video where I do 5 example solves using beginner CFOP. And if you thought you were done, you're wrong, because once you're comfortable enough stepping up your game, check out this intermediate CFOP playlist. Ciao guys.